Peace. Today I was thinking like, okay, well, how did my ancestors live? Like, how did my ancient ancestors live? When I mean ancestors, I don't mean back in Christopher Columbus time. I mean back like 13,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, possibly even further. And it hit me like right now in today's era, we're talking about getting Irish sea moss. We're talking about getting all of these new herbs, not new herbs, but different herbs, just to get the vitamins and minerals that we need to sustain our bodies. And I'm thinking like, well, damn, man, it's kind of a mission to get these right now, even though we have such the capability to do it. Like, I can just order it online and go get it, but still, that's kind of a mission. And if I have to do that, then what the fuck did my ancestors do? What the fuck did they do? What did they do back in Egypt? The alleged time where Thoth and people like them existed, like Anubis, and just the, projected time period in which they existed. What did they do? And I came to a conclusion that it can't be about that. It can't be about the minerals in the body and the foods that you're getting, because it has to go to the point where it's either we weren't eating foods to survive, or we totally needed foods to survive. And if it was that we totally needed food to survive, how did in every ancient text they missed that shit? If we needed certain foods to be at our optimum level, why didn't they talk about that? Why didn't they draw pictures of the sea moss? Why didn't they draw pictures of the minerals and the vitamins that actually allowed us to see what could bring us to our highest self and put that on the hieroglyphs? But they weren't talking about that. What were they talking about? They were talking about how to change your perception. And this flows in with, well, before I go into that, let's talk about the consumption. Like, okay, if we need food so much, then in the ancient times, what did they do? Like, did they fly to the jungles to get all these superfoods and then come back and then feed their body and then make pyramids? Like, think about it. Like, how were they making pyramids if the slaves that they used to make the pyramids, how the fuck did they keep them up and strong while doing that? And I think that is not what we consume necessarily. I do think that it's what the energy we are consuming. And that energy that we are consuming is affecting our perception. And I think that our perception of our connection to our body needs to change. Because that perception of your connection to your body and everything else around you will shift your biology into a new way of being. And then after you shift your biology, aka your body, from your mind being the governor of your perception, it will change the way your body reacts to anything that you consume. And not only that, whether or not your body even thinks that it needs certain things to survive. Like right now, we are so reliant on things that we need to survive. Not only are we so reliant on that, we're living in an environment that's actually destroying us energetically, like staying disconnected from the sun, staying disconnected from the earth, staying disconnected from the natural chi energy from the trees and from all of the natural environment around us. That is a big part, I do believe. And so where am I going with this? Back to where I'm going with this, I think that we need to change our perception of who we are and what we are, or change our perception of our connection, like I said, to this reality, so that we can then start to see the bigger picture, that it's not necessarily about what you eat. It's not. It's about what you're eating through your five senses. What are you feeding to you that is affecting your perception? And in truth, I think there will be a time, the time is coming now, that we really will no longer have to eat food, and we will only be breatharians. And what I mean by breatharians is we'll be surviving off of chi energy. We'll be surviving off of the sun, the energy from the sun, the energy from nature, the energy from that which we are. Every breath is an intake of the food that you need, because you are everything, and everything outside of you is inside of you, and there's nothing that could exist outside of you. And I don't mean your ego self, I mean your whole self, yourself that is everything. So how could you need something outside of you in this reality if nothing exists outside of you? How could I need the food when I am the food? And it's a paradoxical. It sounds like paradoxical thoughts or whatever, but or maybe that's not the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. Like it sounds wild, but in truth, if everything is light and you are the light, then anything that you need, you think it and it happens, because that's how this whole reality happened. This whole reality was an intelligent idea to create a design. How I made my body through my astrological programming to experience myself through different mediums and to, I guess, play this game. But with that being said, food is external food can help us get to where we gotta go and get us on a higher vibration. But I do not think that the food is the problem. I think that it's our perception. And when our perception changes, our body will change, because our cells inside of our body and the organs inside of our body and the information that's being, transferred or transmuted from the DNA will change as well. We will unlock different DNA, and then we will begin to change our structures inside of our body, and then we will begin to read different aspects of our DNA. Unlocking the DNA literally means that there's like codes on your DNA that your the RNA is reading and copying. The RNA will then begin to read new parts of the DNA, and once the RNA just like reads different DNA and it makes a copy and it goes sends it and the ribosome makes the proteins for it. Imagine if you start to open up brand new DNA codes, and then it copies that in itself changes your perception. That in itself changes your biology, because that DNA is information, it's energy coming from the infinite universe, and is either coming from the sun or whatever you want to say. It just opens up that new strand, and then once that RNA reads it, and then it makes the protein for it. When the RNA with the new information goes to the ribosome to make the proteins, those proteins will then begin to structure your body in a different way with new information. And this is actually life-changing information if you understand this. And I hope that those who will understand this message or understand or overstand this message can get it, because I'm realizing it through learning about DNA and learning about astrology and learning about quantum physics and learning about melanin and learning about a lot about health and learning about all of these things. All of these things are essential for a human being to understand, so that we can overstand ourselves and the reality that we are experiencing. Because we're going to go through life constantly, and there's going to be many suggested energies coming to us, and then if we don't know who we are, then we're just going to just take it all in and then not even know, and then become lost, and then get caught up in the next fad, and get caught up in the next trend, or get caught up in the next thing, and get caught up in the next idea. So yeah, this is JnxZM, your reflection, JnxZM, flowing out. I really just wanted to share that today, because one more thing I do want to share, if I still have time, that the earth and all of this, the equinox, the earth, the cycles of the planet and the galaxy, it's all us. All of it is us. And when it comes to talking about the food again and the perception, as we change in cycles, we change, our structure change. If the conditions change on this planet and the conditions of the sun changes as well, then that would change our structure too, and that would change our perception too, and the frequency in which we vibrate on a different level. So like, for example, like winter time. When winter comes, the structure inside of your body will begin to react to the environment that it's in. And then your perception will begin to react to the environment that it's in too. Your mind will begin to react to that. Once your mind begins to react, it's starting to tell yourself, now I'm going to do something different, because the environment is telling me to do something different. And this is important to understand, because just understanding how we react to the environment and everything, and how our bodies react to the environment, then we can begin to understand how that all of this is us, and that we have cycles of ourself. We like our consciousness have cycles. As long as we're in this existence, we will have cycles. And then if we do not know how to utilize the understanding of these cycles, then we will only be a victim of the cycles. this is where migration happened back then. Like they said, oh shit, this is happening. They would just get the message from the universe or wherever they got their intuitive message from. They say, hey yo, tribe, we moving that way. Let's go. Yo, look, did you not see that bird? Yo, the bird gave us the message. It's time to go north, my G. It's about to fucking shift. The pole's about to shift. It's about to get cold over here. We need to go where it's gonna be warmer. It's gonna be like a month's travel. Let's go. Pack your shit. We'll find food on the way. Boom. Like that kind of shit. But anyways, yeah, I just want to really expose y'all to that possibility. So yeah, JnxZM out. Peace.